son to be proud if somebody asked him, what did my dad do? So I taught myself mortgages because I knew I wanted more out of life, and the janitorial field wasn't going to provide that. And me, I'm never afraid to shoot my shot, which if you're looking at me, shoot your shot, whether it's you coming to buy a house, learning to sell them, whatever job, whatever dream you had as a child, like, I promise you, you only get one life to live, and I suggest you shoot your shot. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to be on your deathbed with a bunch of what ifs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Well, hello there, Flawless family. It is I, Tierra Walker Holloway, and welcome back to episode 25. Can you believe it, you guys? We are at episode 25. Yeah. I am so excited, and I am so excited today to be joined by my number one lender. You know, I tell people all the time that throughout my career, I've been in business as a real estate broker and a real estate agent for over 20 years. And I have sought always to find a lender that I could lean on, that I could trust, that would gather the most data, the most information, and put it out to the clients as it is needed per their situation, and do it with kindness. And I just appreciate so much, and welcome back to the show. Another returning guest 2 weeks in a row, Mr. Ronnie Justice Jr. with OVM Financial. Say hey, Ronnie.
What's up, guys? I definitely appreciate the invite again and whatnot, and hopefully I have some more information for you guys that be able to assist you with this homeownership process, whether you're working with me or not. I hope you win with it.
Listen, you know what? I appreciate that, and this is, of course, Flawless Living Made Simple, Winning Mindset. So we're going to first start off by kind of getting into your background. Now, you've been on the show before where we've done kind of mortgage stuff and conversations, and we're definitely going to do a 2025 market update. So you got to stay tuned and actually go through this portion to get that market update. But this is Winning Mindsets. And you know, Ronnie, I don't know if you've been watching the season, but this season is all about overall health and wellness. Mm-hmm. That is mental health, physical health, spiritual health, and financial health. So you are covering that play today, the financial health, okay?
Yep.
So now, when you and I first hooked up, you were with another mortgage company. And when we were just talking a moment ago, you were telling me why you switched, and it's actually been a year to this new company. And I can be a testament with both my clients to say that it has been a lot more programs. But tell us, at this phase in your career, what made you make the switch?
The switch mainly came from wanting to be able to cast a far larger net. I was offered an opportunity to come over to OVM Financial, and once I got there, I saw the programs that were available. Like I said, it's not too many scenarios that come about that I don't have something that I can apply to it now. I want to say the ease of some of the underwriting. I'm able to get a lot of deals through that I wasn't able to get through previously. And I used to feel bad because people used to walk right across the street to get approved after I told them no. But, you know, different companies have different overlays and the risk factor that they're willing to take on. So I'm somewhere that we looking to make a deal. If it's a deal there, we're going to make it. I'll say that to say. And I love being able to help our people. So I don't want to be somewhere that will limit me from being able to help that 580, that 590 credit score, or not as much money. I don't have a route to go to get the money. Now I have a lot of different avenues to be able to make somebody a homeowner where previously they might not been able to.
Well, that is absolutely dope. And you know what? We appreciate you and all the programs that you bring. Now, first of all, let's just go back a little bit. What brought you into the mortgage business in the first place? I mean, there's so many areas that you probably could have taken. What made you decide to be a mortgage lender?
I'll say this to say, right? Like, I didn't learn about my credit till maybe early 30s or whatnot, and I'm 41. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying that to say I know I have a voice. I don't mind using it. I love meeting people where they are. I'm pretty decent in sales as well. So I chose a lane that I know that I can serve people far beyond that point of sale. Like, once you close on the house, what you'll get from me, you'll carry on a little further, because I love to pour in financial knowledge. I learned this all to serve my community. So if you don't use me for what I have, as far as that knowledge is, you're kind of selling yourself short. You don't have to bring me your business to be able to get what I have in me. I taught myself at my dining room table all about the mortgage industry, right? Came out, got licensed, and all I look to do is serve this community. So at the end of the day, you don't have to worry about somebody looking down on you or not understanding your situation, or even you as culture or person-wise. Like, I'm relatable to all of that, and I'm possible. So you can't say mortgage is impossible or home ownership is impossible for you. You're looking at impossible, and trust me, I make it happen on a regular. I did it for myself, so I look forward to helping more and more families become homeowners. That's the only way we close the wealth gap. We're 2 or 3 generations behind. Yeah. So we got to get started with home ownership to get that process started. So it was easy for me to take this path of the financial side of the home ownership process versus taking you around shopping. I don't even like shopping for myself in stores or whatnot. So I know I wasn't going to listen to nobody tell me what they want or looking for in a house. So, but it was easier to teach you about the finances, setting you up with the finances. And I'm somebody that actually cares. Like, you meet me, you'll understand that. So I want to know that you got your true diligence out of me. I'm one of the ones that'll tell you, you might get a better deal across the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm not able to provide it to you. Yes, I'm able to cast a large net, but your situation may be one of them one-offs that I have something for it, but it still might be something better somewhere else. And I would like to know you really want at a higher rate. And that's not with something that just to give me a sale and make a few dollars, but I know in 30 years or 10 years in there alone, you might be a little miserable.
You know what? And that is exactly why I tell everybody, that I have found the lender that I've been looking for my entire career, because it is in fact true that it has to be greater than the sale.
Yes.
Us working with the clients has to be greater than the sale. Yes, it's a great, result on our end. However, if, like you said, in 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, this person is still regretting that payment, regretting the purchase that is in the type of home, the quality of home, the condition of the home, or on the lending side, the mortgage rate, the monthly payment, the extras that come with home ownership, then have we really done our job to the highest level? And so to meet a lender, and there have been many lenders, so I'm not, I don't want to knock anyone that's watching the show that I love and work with as well. It's just that in having someone that I can actually give a call to that will pick up the phone and give me the information, even if I'm just sourcing about it, even if I'm just working through with an investor, even if I'm just trying to run numbers for my own personal business. It's kind of like to have that option is amazing. So, you said that you got to give us more. Come on, because this is winning mindsets. We about to get into it, right? We getting into it. So you said you sat at the table. So you always, so you must have always just naturally kind of gravitated to numbers? Because I know for me, that's the reason. I had girlfriends years ago when I was just getting into real estate that were doing mortgages, and they were killing it. We all met working at Dillard's. We used to all work at Dillard's in the shoe department, and they went over to, I forgot the name of the company now. I think it closed in 2008.
Gotcha.
But you figure that they were at one of those companies and they were killing it. And they was like, we just write loans all day, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? Like, no, like I can't even, like, that is not my thing. Like I'm so thankful that phones come with calculators. You don't understand. So it's like, have you always just been good at numbers, or what drew you besides the shopping part? Because obviously by you saying that means that you knew getting into real estate would be a foundation for wealth. So that's something that we always try to like let people know, that it's not just about us getting in the business. It's actually true that, like he said, it helps to close the wealth gap. that equity that you create in your home, and that ownership alone gives you a stake in something beyond yourself that you can pass on. So we know that. But what is it? Was it the numbers? What about it?
So, I mean, I like to think I was pretty halfway decent at numbers from making money. I owned the business prior to, or what have you. But when I got, what I want to say, somewhat of an invitation in the real estate, even though they asked me to do a certain job in real estate because they knew I would be halfway decent at it, I still went over all the different jobs, because one thing about real estate, you don't have to sell houses or do mortgages to make money in real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's too many other deals that can happen for you, or other jobs, I want to say, within the same deal. Her and I could be on a deal and you still can get paid. There's 3-4 other ways you can get paid.
Absolutely.
Off the same exact deal. So I weighed all of them that would fit my lifestyle, my mindset, everywhere where I was at. And again, I think numbers wasn't the paramount reason. I knew for a fact that people would listen to me when it came to finances. I guess I knew I would get that respect from the people for me taking it serious enough that they wanted to hear whatever it was. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was in sales previously doing network marketing, where most of America think it was bad or illegal or a scam. And like I said, I got a lot of people to sign up for it. So I wanted to use my willpower and ability to just deal with people to, what I want to say, open up their mindset to the ability to own. Because a lot of people that come from the background that I come from, and even worse, or not even from the same one, still don't believe it's for them, right? So when I come out and I let you know that everything is possible, showing you the numbers, showing you how to obtain certain numbers to get to a point of becoming a homeowner, I truly invest into the clients. And that's the difference versus somebody that made you out to be a check when you went to see them about a mortgage, right? You're not going to get everything out of it. They're going to give you the first deal that worked for them in the system, one that was easy for them to push through. However it fits your life, it didn't matter. They built a loan based on what suited them and their needs. And that, to me, that's not you getting your due diligence in this process. So I know for a fact I can't touch every single one of you, right? So I do my best to put myself out there with platforms like this, teaching regularly, monthly, to try to get in front of all the people that I know need the help that I have. At the end of the day, I just want to be able to serve the people the right way. So numbers just was another part of it. And I'm one of the ones that was in school that always said, what I need to do this class for, what I need this math for. And I look at in my late 30s, I end up doing math every single day. It's not a day I don't run numbers. I'm breaking decimals down to fractions back into decimals, the whole nine. So it's like, and I'm doing it on the fly now, whereas like you said, we thought we would never use that after we left grade school. So I'm saying that to say somebody who might even like numbers or feel good about it, think about it. But ultimately you have to be a good salesman. You can sit behind a computer and run numbers all day, but if there's no traction to the computer, you're sitting for nothing at the end of the day. So I want you to understand that side of it. I like that side a lot more than sitting in front of the computer, but I know the impact that I provide behind that computer, so I force myself into that. You know
right.
I mean?
No, I definitely feel you on that. And you know, it's interesting. I'm not sure if it was the last time you were on the show or who the guest was, where we talked about that background in network marketing and how that network marketing, I worked in network marketing. That was like one of the only jobs that I had, you know, and I worked in that for a long time, about a couple of years. And there is something to be said about repeating the script all the time to convince, you know, someone that they need this product you have. And then all of to me, I feel like one of the things that really precipitates all of that success is how much you buy into the mindset training. Because all of that stuff that we were learning in the late 90s or the early 2000s or whenever you were in that, because I know for me that's when it was, you know, the network marketing was so much of that mindset training, so many of those things that you still hear repeated in your mind today, because mindset matters. That's why this is winning mindsets. It's kind of like you have to have those mantras, those things that keep you moving forward despite any condition. You have to have those things that allow you to remain logical in the face of emotional situations. And in sales, that's primarily what you're going to be dealing with, is that your buyer or your client is going to be the one that holds the emotion. And so we've got to be able to not only empathize and sympathize with that circumstance, but compassionately move that person through the process, right? And with logic. We can't buy into the emotional side of it. And so I think that is superior sales training overall. And sales does not have to be a bad thing. And then I appreciate you mentioning to our guests again that it's kind of like this real estate sales and mortgage lending are not just the only ways to make money in real estate. We've got the property management free lunch and learn coming up this week, and that basically almost sold out. I'm like, I am so ecstatic that so many people in our marketplace want to learn more about that stream of income. So we'll be talking more about that in the upcoming episode, but there are just so many different ways to earn money and really make a very good career, not just in the direct individual sales. This business is scalable in so many ways. So, with all of that being said, you taught yourself mortgages. I know you are a great dad. Yes, I know you love your kids and you take good care of your children. And so just tell us, what is something that you take as a mantra for yourself to keep going because you are a multiple entrepreneur owner. So you are not only a mortgage lender, you also have other businesses. Do you want to talk any about that or any of the other things that you kind of offer the community?
I will say this to say, like how she said about the kids, and another side of it that got me into mortgages. I don't tell this a lot, but I'll say this now, like my kids, I never told them what the business I own. And it's not that I was ashamed of it, but I wanted my son to be proud of when he spoke up and said what his dad did, right? My son, my son's 12 right now, maybe 2 years ago, up until then, he thought I was a professional chef because I did most of the cooking around the house, and I'm pretty decent.
Okay.
Right.
Dope.
But I own a janitorial service. And I call myself a janitor. When people ask me, I might own the business, got the employee, whatever. But that's what I did, because I don't mind didn't mind going to clean toilets with them or whatever it was that I showed up. I'm of the people, by far I'm of the people. But again, I wanted my son to be proud if somebody asked him, what did my dad do? So I taught myself mortgages because I knew I wanted more out of life, and the janitorial field wasn't going to provide that. And me, I'm never afraid to shoot my shot, which if you're looking at me, shoot your shot, whether it's you coming to buy a house, learning to sell them, whatever job, whatever dream you had as a child, like I promise you only get one life to live, and I suggest you shoot your shot, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to be on your deathbed with a bunch of what ifs, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Even if you tried it and didn't accomplish it, at least you set your mindset to starting to want to try different things. And I think that's what T is asking of me right now to tell y'all. Like, I come from a background, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get out of it. You understand what I'm saying? So it's nothing to me to go over here where I hear people say they don't mind, or some dudes in the world that I used to be in. I could do 10 years on my head right now. But they wouldn't try to go take a class to learn something different for 4 years to set them up for the rest of their life. But they can tell me they can do 10 years in prison for doing something stupid. So when I used to hear stuff like that, I had to slowly separate myself from what I knew I didn't want. Mm-hmm. And I had a bunch of blue-collar jobs growing up as well, so I knew what I didn't want to do the rest of my life from that perspective as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying that to say, when I know me, right, I'm more disciplined than anything. And most people you will come across in certain avenues, because you're not going to always be motivated to do certain things. But if you have that discipline and a good structured setup, you can go far with that alone. And with that mindset of, there's nothing I can't accomplish. I teach my son, there's nothing that he can't accomplish, because if another man that has done it, I can do it. It's just a matter of time. Just like mortgages, I used to see people do few mil a month. I used to think the world of that till I started doing it. Now I know it's far more that I want to do. You understand?
He said that,
so
didn't
I'm saying that to say, when you come in and you do any type of business, you set a bar. high enough to scare you, because I plateaued in this world before. You set a goal that you can see within your reach or whatnot, and once you hit it, you're not aspiring for much more. So I had to start hanging around people even better than that goal that I reached and plateaued on. And that one wasn't a strong goal that I said. It was 5 figures a month. That's all I said that I wanted to be able to make. And once I hit it, I knew I was capable of more. I had way more time in the day. I knew I had more brain power and capacity to pull off a lot more. So I knew I wanted to do more. And with this business, it allows me to help thousands of people I talk to, man, on every day. You know what I mean?
The reality is that with every single thing that you just talked about, it just shows that, again, you know, just belief in self and self-belief, right, is the number one factor for whether or not you can change your circumstance, right? And it doesn't necessarily even mean that you're coming from a bad circumstance. You could just be looking for direction. And in seeking direction, we're going to lay a foundation by taking a step. You know, my primary number one thing that I always tell everyone is start where you are, use what you have. All you have to do is just start. And once you start seeking the information, once you start just inquiring about it, just moving in the direction of something that you feel passionate about, it will unfold before you if you take the step. And I mean, I just think it's so powerful. And I appreciate you sharing this story about your son. However, I do want to just mention that entrepreneurship, no matter what the field, is so challenging that to succeed in any area is a reason to be proud. So to say that you just, I think it's more that you wanted your kids to see that you could be white and blue collar, right? That you could do the more professional role and the more blue collar role, and both of those be successful. Because what it is that at this time there are so many of those jobs that young people don't want to take that are the blue collar jobs that come with dignity, that come with actual respect, because we need those services the same as we need the services that we provide. I mean, somebody needs to come clean this place up now, okay? So I know for sure that those jobs are quality. And we had a cleaning company, you know that. So I've tried the cleaning company. I started my career cleaning. I tell people that all the time. That's how I met my first investors. I was over there cleaning their places. I had never done no cleaning like that. I mean, I had to go in there and clean the grout and figuring that out and cleaning around toilets and windowsills and all that kind of stuff. And this was way back in the early 2000s out in Ocean View. And I was working with an investor, and out there but they did provide the supplies. And at the time, I didn't even realize the value of that till I opened my own. Till I opened my own janitorial. You know, it's like, dang, like they provided the supplies. All we had to do was just come and clean it up. So. And it was still hard, you know what I'm saying? So that's some taxing work, and I still will do it, and still will in certain cases if it's needed. I think a person, myself, speaking for myself, I'll never be above anything that I would pay someone to do. Right? If I'm willing to pay you to do it, I'm willing to do it myself, unless I just don't have the skill set. You know what I'm saying? If I don't have the skill set, then that's totally different. But if I can, I'm willing to do it too. So I definitely think that's super, super dope. And just to see you continuing to succeed in this business, just getting it, like they say, straight from the mud. You just sat at that table and said, look, I'm going to learn this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to serve the people, and to have reach your goals. You know what I'm saying? And then even I want to also touch on how you were saying about reaching the plateau. Because, you know.
It was tough.
Yeah, no, it is, because that's how I felt. A couple of years ago, you know, we're coming up on our anniversary, another episode, another day, but we are coming up on the anniversary, and I got to that second year, and I was like, man, you know, being a principal broker is kind of it, you know. What else can you do after this, right? It's like this is the highest like, plus my family started asking me, I was kind of a little defensive. They're like, well, what you gonna do next? I'm like, next? Like, what you mean? I did it. This was the thing to do. I did it. And so, you get to that point, but then, like you said, you aim higher, you create more space, you expand, and that's what you've been able to do by doing good work, by providing great service and really helping families in the community. And so I just want to salute you on that, and I just appreciate you coming on to talk about it and just share. It wasn't a lot, but we got something. Winning mindsets. With winning mindsets, we're gonna get a little something into that mind. So we appreciate you opening up and sharing a little bit of your purpose and your mission with us. And so now, without further ado, let's get into what we know the people here for. Okay, we gotta talk to the people about the mortgage rates. Now, I know that the market has been extremely hesitant over the past 24 months or so, just as we approach all the high rates and everything. And now we've seen these I don't want to say historic lows, because this is certainly not that. Certainly not. So now, can you please provide us with, because we know that we have a lot more sellers in our market. And before we go to that, the other day I posted, I want to just say this, I posted on my Facebook, I said, it's a buyer's market. Said, so if you're a buyer, you need to get on in there, right? Do you know agents from all over the country? I'm talking about tore me to pieces. I'm talking about they ripped me to shreds, and I had to say, hey, everybody, we're in Hampton Roads. Please tell us where you are. I was actually posting this to a group that says first-time home buyers, right? It's like first-time home buyers, and then I was like, and I'm clearly saying, I'm in Hampton Roads, Virginia, and they're like, not here in Texas. And I'm like, all right, back up, like, where are you? That's what we're seeing. But I know here in our market, we're certainly seeing, now there are a lot of homes for sale, and there's still a lot of buyers out there. Mm-hmm. But like I have been telling our clients and our sellers, is that the thing is that over the past 2 years, what I've seen on the real estate side is more hesitation and more discernment. So it's almost like buyers are not accepting nothing less than, they never would, right? But you figure in those COVID times when everybody was so scared they wasn't going to have somewhere to live. Right. Everybody's bidding overpriced and doing all of that stuff, which we never did. We never did that. I never did that. I never wrote during COVID. I never went through a loan process with a buyer that was bidding over the appraisal amount. It's against one of my beliefs as an agent. I just feel like, because here's why. Hold on, let me preface this to say, okay? Because I know Ronnie may disagree with this, but I've been in business since 2005, and I have seen the result of over appraisal guarantees, and it will eat your equity. And I feel like, not only that, it eats your actual savings. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times, you saved up, and during COVID, we were seeing historic savings, 70, 80, 90, 100 grand, and people that were like 35 and, 40, where they're having $100,000 just for the home purchase. So we're not even talking about that's the totality of savings, which is amazing, which is great. However, to spend all of that on the house, it's just never been kind of like my idea to make you house poor. I want you to be able to get a house that's within your means, and that you keep your savings for emergencies and for job security and all of that. So luckily, I didn't have to fight any of my buyers about it either. So I don't want to say that I had any buyers that truly challenged me and said, no, we're going to pay over appraisal, because I'm not sure, how that would have went. I try to work with buyers that we're going to trust each other, and they're going to trust that we can find something that's within the means of what they have. Right. But now in today's market, which is in Hampton Roads, okay, I know you're watching in Australia, and I know you're watching in Austin, Texas, but please know we're talking about the 7 cities of Hampton Roads. What are we seeing, Ronnie?
I mean, like you were saying, like as far as the housing, the transient nature of our area, keeps real estate going pretty much.
Yes.
But as far as the rates, they definitely have fell some. I know I have more than a few bills in the 5.5, 5.6 range.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you are a first-time home buyer where your parents never owned or your spouse, her parents never owned or what have you, they have what's called this first generation grant where that gives you a 2% reduction in the interest rate that you have.
So good.
Let's just say you locked in at 5.5 today on a contract when you came to me. With the 2-point reduction, you'll be at a 3.5%, which now you're back at COVID.
Right.
But again, I mean, those situations fit the scenario that it's for. But like I said, the rates have definitely came down. VA, I think par rates are probably in the mid-6s for them and FHA. Conventional rates look good today as well. Like depending on your credit score or whatnot, you could be in the low 6s for that as well. So I mean, it all depends on your situation. Also, if you want to buy the rate down, I usually don't even encourage to buy the rate down, but the way they fell, I usually say around 1% if you want to spend on the interest rate to bring it down some, because you probably would never touch that loan again in 30 years unless you just need some money out of the house. Right?
So now let me ask you a question really quickly while we're getting into it. So when you say buy the rate down, is that a flat rate or does that fluctuate based on the price of the sale, like the home itself?
No, I mean, it's based on the buy the rate down. It is based on 1%. You'll hear it called discount points. Discount points is only 1% of the loan amount, not the sales price. It's two separate numbers.
Absolutely.
This is the number after your down payment and everything, the loan amount, right? 1% of the loan amount is what you usually will spend on the rate. Now, it's broken down into 8, so you can spend a little less than 1%, but obviously the rate will be a little higher than if you spent the full 1%, right? So again, you are able to spend, you only can spend up to 3 points on the rate buy down as well, and your other things that you have, but 3 points typically is what you can spend on the rate to buy down. Most people don't. Like I said, usually if you're not getting the 2% rate reduction, or if you are, let's just say you are, then I kind of encourage you to spend the 2.5 points, because let's just say today, per se, Virginia housing, I think they were around, 5.675.
Okay.
So if you were to buy that rate down to that point, you would get the 2% reduction, you would be at a 3.675.
Right.
Or the 30-year loan or whatnot.
Yeah,
so that's
great.
And
then it's locked in that.
That's
locked
30
in
years you will benefit from that interest rate. So that's a loan that you typically wouldn't refinance. If you needed equity out, you would also do a HELOC or something of that nature. But I wouldn't get rid of that interest rate. That interest rate makes you money. Understand that. Good debt makes you money.
Yeah.
Not all debt is bad, like a car note or whatever else you guys may be paying off. It shouldn't be. But when I'm saying that, to say a house,
sounds just like a little. Talk about whatever.
But a house with a great interest rate, I'm telling you, that's to me income. You know what I mean? I look at it no other way.
Right. No, that is miraculous to be able to get even close back to that 3% with the buy down or with that program. Now let's do something to help. So we want to see. With our buyers that may be out there that are like 640 and under, is there something that you would suggest? Like if a person was looking to purchase in the next 6 months outside of credit repair, is there something else, or even along with credit repair or correction? Because like me and credit repair don't go together. But I know. Look, that's you, but look. That's why we on two different sides of the. See that? Because I ain't going with that. But no, I hear that. I hear that for sure. But no, that's what I'm saying. That's why you are the mortgage lender. That's why you're the pro. So now, for someone that was 640 and under, what would be some top suggestions that you offer them if they were planning to buy either by the end of this year? Oh no, it's September. So the beginning of 2026 into the spring. what would you suggest?
Well, first off, I say that most programs for getting grants and everything like that for our area only requires a 620 credit score, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even still, with that, you could work on your utilization of your credit profile. And I'm not just speaking on the credit cards that you have. It's a overall utilization based on the type of money you're making. This is your debt to income ratio I'm speaking on. Because the credit score, your FICO score only tells me I can lend you money. The debt to income ratio tells me how much money I can lend you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you got a bunch of let's just say credit cards, low balance, other things on your credit report that, like $1,000 bill with a $1,000 balance with a $300 payment, that's something you would get rid of because that $300 will go to the good for you towards your mortgage every month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most time I get people to pay that stuff off, but if you, like she was saying, 6 months out, waiting a few months, I would get rid of some of those bills that have a low balance but a high monthly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ones that just don't look right. I might have seen one today with around $3,000 balance, but the payment was $600, right?
Mm-hmm.
Interest rate crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But get rid of that. You know what I mean? Try to pay that down as fast as possible. Not only you saving yourself money monthly, but $600 can change the situation when it comes to a mortgage, right?
Yes.
That would be the main thing I say. But if it is credit repair, one thing about doing a mortgage, right? It costs you nothing. And I'm saying this to say, going back to when I said shoot your shot. Don't wait to me till you feel like you had to perfect yourself to come to me and figure out what it is you need for a mortgage or think you're ready, because you're going off your own train of thought. And if you sat for 4 or 5 months behind that kitchen table the same way I did, then you know your situation. But I'm saying that to say you can come to me. It costs you nothing to find out where you stand at from a financial standpoint. Now you will have a task, a checklist of let me do this, let me do this, let me do this. By that 4th or 5th month, you'll know you'll be ready. Because sometimes I get a lot of people that are always saying I'm waiting to come to you, and by the time they come to me, they've done a lot of stuff that wasn't even necessary, right?
Mm-hmm.
They could have been in the house in that time frame that they thought they were perfecting their situation before they even came and let me see it.
Wow.
So I'm saying that to say, and they don't even have to do it. You know what I mean? Find you somebody that deal with that, that care enough about you, that'll break the situation down so that way you get what you want out of the situation, not what benefits them.
Right.
So I'm saying that to say, if you are in that 640 and below, you're not in a bad space actually. So I mean, to me, that would be the time to get somebody to do a mortgage application. You can always ask them to do a soft pull on your credit. Make sure they do a soft pull. Like I said, it won't affect your credit, and they can see what your entire financial situation looks like, so they can give you a game plan. Because you just shooting in the dark, not knowing, saying I'm gonna pay this, pay that. There's a lot of times I don't even need you to touch anything. You just come on and find a house. Honestly, I've seen it more times than not where people thought they weren't prepared, and by the time they came to me, I was already putting them in the house when they could have.
No, that is so good. Now that is so amazing that you say that, because that's a heck of a good point. When I teach the housing training class, I tell the class attendees, I say, listen, I say, you have earned the right, right? If you're working your job and you're saving your money and you're even considering buying a home and beginning and then taking the magic step of getting some education in your locality where you live, wherever you are viewing this, you start getting the education in those free classes that educate. And like our class here, the Virginia Homebuyers class, that class, like I tell them, is equivalent to 2.5%. So you just think you sit in the class for 6 hours, and that could be equivalent to $10,000 in real money, because that is a grant towards your down payment. So educate yourself in your locality. Educate yourself in your locality and go to those free classes. And once you are making those steps to earn your income at your job, staying on the job 1-2 years, actually getting your credit, even if you don't have the high credit that you think you need, and actually now attending and getting some education, that is the time to start working towards the actual home ownership. So that is super dope. Now, what I want to tell people is, first of all, first, tell them where you're licensed so that they can know that that's why you talk to all these thousands of people. Come on, tell them where you're licensed.
I am in Virginia, also in Maryland, but here at OVM, they give me the ability to pretty much write loans across this nation. Once it gets to a certain point, I'll just close it somewhere. But regardless, I can pretty much take care of you if you're in the continental U.S. I'll say that the same.
Okay, well, you know what the good thing about me asking that is that if you're watching that, all Ronnie's contact information, email, contact number, website will be listed down below, as is every show. So to get more information on Ronnie, the programs at OVM Financial, Sallie Mae, that is definitely where you can lock in, get this education, get this care, and get your home ownership goals moving forward. Now, for those folks that are already out shopping and already out searching mortgages either here or all around, could you just give us like some insider questions that as a shopper for a mortgage lender that I would want to ask to know? Here's the caveat, not just the program, but the care too, right? Could you give us a couple questions that everybody, wait, let's give them a second. Get your pad. This is it. This is the info right here. Okay. Give us a couple questions that you would ask if you were going to seek a mortgage somewhere else. Yes. Okay. How would you do that?
So first off, you definitely, I know she said programs, but you want to know that they have programs that fit your specific situation. One thing about it, like mortgages is one of the more situational things that you will ever do. You know what I mean? I could have 3 people lined up make the same thing a year and they'll all end up in a different product. We just don't know what a suit or fit that one scenario. First off, again, if you know you're not ready and you got a nice little timeline, if you're going to see that person, first you want to ensure you get that soft pull done, like honestly, because that hard pull is good for 120 days. And if your credit isn't there, there's no reason for me to hurt it, right? Until I know it's ready to go. Another thing you want to definitely ask your mortgage lender. Now, a lot of people say, find you a local lender. Even I've been saying it in certain classes that I've taught, but I got away from it since I said what I said previously. I work loans in many different areas. Find you somebody that's going to be truly knowledgeable, invested in you, right? So I'll say this to say, one thing you can do is when you submit an app with a person you may feel comfortable with. Now, that's the other part, to find somebody that you're comfortable enough with, whether it's a family member, real estate agent, best friend, a co-worker that has already done this, that you can feel like, hey, I can pretty much take their word based on it, at face value. Then I would go start with that lender, right? I try to tell people I don't tell them to stay away from online lending, but you want somebody that's going to be invested in your situation. And every time you call that office, you don't want to be talking to a different person and say, hey, let me pull your file up. All right? You want to talk to somebody that's going to be in tune with you. They should know your kids' names, what grandma like to eat, all of that stuff. If they're going to be in that house and they had truly good conversations with you about your setup. I'm saying that to say that's when you have somebody that's there to benefit you and not only looking out for their self and their deal, right? So you want to know, hey, are you able to access all grant programs, right? You also want to know, does this certain lender have the state down payment assistance bond programs that are available to you? Because not every lender is able to carry, let's just say in this Hampton Roads area, all lenders can't have Virginia housing. They just don't have it at all. So if you know you want the down payment assistance or even the first generation or 2% rate reduction that we discussed, you have to find a lender that can offer Virginia housing product, all right? Also, you want to know what their rates are. Every lender rates. That's the one thing that goes from lender to lender. They can try to sell you on the lowest rate possible or whatnot. pretty much you come to me, I'm gonna do my best to match it. If somebody says they're lower than me or what have you, but nothing beats great customer service, right? Of course, everybody want to save a couple of dollars on their bill. That's understandable. That's why I always tell people who want to shop around with me, just give me my shot to do my part, but they're not gonna beat me on the customer service pouring into you, because the best homeowner is a knowledgeable one, a confident one, and the only way you get that is from being educated, taught what you need to know, so you feel good by the time you're just not signing a bunch of documents in 20 to 30 days and be like, man, here we go. No, you want to know that whole path, what got you there, what's going to keep you there as well. You know what I mean? Because a lot of lenders write loans that don't even suffice, and you end up foreclosed,
or worse, right? Or worse,
or whatnot. So I'm saying that to say, I would like to know that you made a true investment into yourself and into your livelihood, especially when you got kids relying on you. So I don't want you to be in a position that you can't sustain or whatnot. So you definitely want to talk to somebody who really want to have your best interest on their behalf, not because I told you I can approve you for $300,000, but your monthly budget only told you need to buy a house for $150,000.
Right.
When he feel like he has a $300,000 sale, so that's the only thing that he's going to push off on you.
Right.
I'm gonna ask you why you still not shopping in the 150 range. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter to me what I make based on this deal or whatnot, because we figure out the more people I help get what they want, everything I want in the process. All right. So I'm looking to be sure that everybody gets what they deserve out of this situation. So you want to find somebody and ask the right questions, honestly, about them too. What do they care about? You know what I mean? Ultimately,
that's a good one.
You know what I mean? Because if you let somebody talk enough, they're going to pretty much reveal everything that they're about. You know what I mean? Especially if they run their mouth like I do. You know what I mean? I don't need a whole invitation for that. But you're going to hear me talk more about you. You know what I mean? And what you need out of this is not going to be about me. I'm only going to tell you, let you know what I'm going to do for you.
Right. No, I definitely, that is so good. So basically, you're saying to test their care by that initial conversation.
Yes, you want to know.
And then you also want to know how easy is it to reach them.
Yeah.
And are you going to be dealing with multiple people, or is this going to be the one dedicated loan officer for your file?
Right.
And then also, I would say from the real estate side or the sales side is you also want to know if you can get a copy of your pre-approval letter on the weekend. And in our market, now I know this is probably a lot of markets, but in our market, that's a really big deal. Because now, I will say this though, hold on now, let me be honest on this. However, I have miraculously seen, since this new wave of kind of buyer market, where I've had agents actually say to me, oh, as long as they have a pre-approval, you can send the updated one on Monday or Tuesday. And that is a definite temperature taker that the market has changed.
Yeah.
I've seen properties that are immaculate and in amazing condition, okay, where there are 4 to 5 people saying they're going to send an offer. And this is after 10, 15, 20 days on market. So the market has definitely shifted to a more buyer-focused market. I see a lot more reductions, even on the rental side.
Yeah.
I've seen our rentals, are luxury rentals, and in some of our areas that are the most sought after, we've had to do some reductions. I actually had an open yesterday at a Suffolk rental, and one of the families came by, and I said, well, because I let them tour by themselves, so they come back downstairs, and I said, well, what do you think? Is this one high on your list? And they say, well, it's high on the price.
Yeah.
And I said, well, ma'am, this is a luxury corner, corner unit, and we went on into it, and she was like, well, we will see. And I said, I guess we will. So there's been some reductions, in across all industries of sales, whether it be leasing or purchasing. But I just want to just say that I think those are some excellent tips. We definitely appreciate you coming in and kind of, pulling back some of the layers of the lending industry, what's happening in and around Hampton Roads right now. Thank you so much for sharing your winning mindset and what brought you into more than this, to actually be able to have, we've done a lot of little lives and stuff, but to be able to have a conversation about your career and how you got into the business is super dope. So I appreciate you just coming on again to inform the people. I mean, that is one of the things that we definitely share in common, is the will to inform and empower everyone whom we come in contact with, no matter if there is a check attached to it. It doesn't have to be a monetary gain for me to sow into you. And it is a blessing to me. It is an honor, because everybody just ain't able. And so to be able to have a sane mind and to be able to impart information that helps you to reach your goals is always going to be a primary of mine and a part of the legacy that I wish to leave. So I definitely appreciate, you sharing that and just working with you. You always be my go-to. And tell the people, this is your parting word. So if you got something good to tell the people, they might not see you again until season 4. So you gotta 4 or 5, so we gotta get something good. Tell the people something good, Ronnie, as we leave on out.
I mean, I had a thought, and I just want to say this about when we went back about plateauing and shooting your shot in life and network marketing, because one thing I did learn about life and where we always place ourselves, and we put certain things and people on the pedestal, right? If your boss don't have the lifestyle you want, you don't want that job. Understand that, right? Find somebody who has the lifestyle you want, not the job, the lifestyle that comes with it. To me, that's what you should look forward to, aspire to. Like, do they have enough time for their kids and family and still make a lot of money? Or you may be a workaholic like me and just want to keep going. But I'm saying that to say, find somebody who has the lifestyle you want and makes the money you want to see. To me, that's where you might want to go and aspire for that.
Absolutely.
As long as it fits your morals and your moral compass and everything like that, because it's a lot of loss in around here.
Yes.
So just find something that fits your lane or whatnot, because I want to see everybody do great. That's why I said, whether you deal with me, bring me a business or not, you can always ask me about mortgage stuff. I'll do this for free all day from any mountaintop. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, like I said, to me though, just find something you into, find somebody that you can somewhat emulate or whatnot, because a lot of stuff is able to be done over. You don't have to reinvent the wheel to change your life, right?
You gotta say it.
At the end of the day. So I definitely appreciate being able to come up here and speak to everyone. I hope you guys got something out of it. Like she said, whatever information you may need, you can always contact us later. Definitely appreciate it.
All right. Well, you know what, you guys? Thank you so much for tuning into episode 25. Oh my God, you guys. We are just rolling through this season 3 of wellness. And I just appreciate you tuning in. Please like and subscribe. The last time I checked, you guys, we were at 199. What's that about? Like, you need to, come on now. We're trying to get to this 1,000 by the end of the year. Now, you want to see this a little more shiny up in here. Let's get to this 1,000. All right. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate you watching and sharing. I hope you have the most wonderful and powerful week. Flawless living made simple. Bye.